Hello, hello, I am magazine viewers. I hope you're doing well. Today I'm back with a new guest, a very nice guy called Ilias. Welcome to the show, Ilias.
Thank you, Alexandra. Thank you. It's a really honor and a privilege for me to be here and to share with you my wisdom, my knowledge, and my experience.
Yes, we are very happy to have you. And we are sure that you're going to share with our viewers very great things today. We're going to talk about personal development, but not just personal development as we usually talk about. We are going to talk about it regarding children, right?
Exactly.
Great. So, yes, I found out about you on the internet. Yes, yes, it was amazing. Actually, I just came across something. I was just browsing and I saw you here on my feed because we have common friends. And you were sharing about positivity. But before we talk about that 30-day challenge, positivity, etc., can you please introduce yourself for our viewers?
Sure. So for those who don't know me, my name is Ilias Kaddi. I am 21 years old, so I'm still a newbie. I'm still young, right? It's not every day that we see a young guy.
What do you mean? I still feel young.
Right. So I'm a business student. So I'm still a student at Solvay Business School here in Brussels, Belgium. And I'm an entrepreneur. So what I do is I coach people, I train teens, I train also adult people, transforming their mindset, their paradigms, their conditioning, actually. But because all the problems we have, all problems lies in our conditioning, our paradigms. And so I'm also a leadership coach and success coach. So I have all the tools for people to be successful in their business, in their careers.
Great.
And of course, I am a coach for children, for teens, as I said. So I coach children how to fall madly in love with themselves, how to believe in themselves, and how to unlock actually their true potential that they have locked inside their body.
Wow, I find it very inspiring because I can tell now, of course, my teenage years are past, but this is something that was not so common when I was a teenager in the, let's say, in the early 2000s, even before. So I'm very interested that we dive into that topic during this interview. And so, yeah, it's very exciting topic. So you talk about personal development for teenagers, for children. This is exactly what I would like to dive into today. So how do you identify teenagers or children and know that they need your help?
So the way I identify it is, before I can answer that question, I would like to take with you in my journey, in my personal story, because that's also the thing that motivated me to jump in that, in becoming a coach for children. So I've always been a kid who struggled with, self-esteem. So am I good enough, right? Am I smart enough? Am I pretty enough, right? And no one looks like me. And I remember at a really young age when I was a kid, a lot of people judged me for who I was, for the way I behaved, for my physical appearances, because right, I had some trouble with my teeth at a really young age, and so I found myself living in a world of fear of being judged. What are people going to say of me? What are people gonna think of me if I do this, if I do that? And so also fear of failing. I know a lot of my friends, and a lot of people, a lot of children are just afraid of failing. They're just afraid to bring a bad grade at home because they're afraid that the parents are going to be mad at them. They're afraid, and so I couldn't speak up for myself. I was extreme, as I should say. I was an extreme introvert. So I was afraid of talking to people. I had only 3 friends in school. Only 3 friends, because I was afraid of being, of showing the real me, of showing the real Ilias, actually. and I had a lot of friends with who I hang out with in the past, who are like me, and struggling with self-esteem, struggling with fear and all of that. And so one day my mother came to me because she jumped in 5 years ago in that industry as well, personal development industry. And she said, Ilias, read that book. So she handed me a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad from Robert Kiyosaki. I don't know if you know it.
I do, yes.
Really, really good book, right? And so once I opened that book, because I hated it, right? I just hated it reading. I just hated reading. And so in the beginning, I was like, I'm not sure. Should I really read this book? It's a thick book, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I started, and from the very first page, I started learning about things that I wasn't learning in school. I learned about money. I learned about mindsets, conditioning, paradigms, and then I learned about ROIs, PPMs, all those words, self-esteem, conditioning, subconscious mind, conscious mind. And I was like, what are you talking about? I want to know what you know. And so I started reading other books. And so that's how I started my journey 5 years ago, Alexandra. So I started all with, self-taught books, videos, audios, because I didn't have some coaches around me in my very beginning, right? So, and I didn't have also money to start. So I had to find out some free stuff on the internet, paying some books 3, 5, 10 euros, right? Affordable things. And then I realized that I couldn't stay with people who were struggling like me. I couldn't stay with those people. And I realized that I had to find some new people to hang out with. And so I started making money. And then I started investing money in me. I started investing money in me. I started going all around the place. I started traveling the US, in all around Europe. I went to Asia because I was hungry to learn. I wanted to become who I knew I could become. And so in order to do that, I had to do something I've never done before. I got to say things I've never said before. I got to believe in things and that I didn't believe, so I could become the person I knew myself to be. And so what did I do? I started investing money in me. I started, going to other countries. I started investing literally money in me by paying mentors, coaches, people who knew what I didn't know, who were living lives that I wasn't living. Because one day I saw, a mentor of mine, and she was literally struggling in her life. She was literally struggling. She was broke and broken, and she did give me a bottom point that I didn't have in my life. And then I said, if she can do it, then surely I can do it. If she could go through all of those things, then I can have even a great life as she's living right now.
Wow.
And so I was willing to start surrounding myself with the right people. And then I had to go through a window time of judgment. Hey, you go to those crazy countries, because I travel alone. I asked my friends, my peeps, right, to come with me, but people are just scary. In fact, people are scared of going, to the US or going to Asia or whatever. People are afraid, and so I had to go through a window time of judgment, of fear of failing, and in school, I had a lot of teachers trying to tear me down, trying to stop me, because I always wanted to learn to become a scientist, an economist. And the teachers told me, yes, you're never going to succeed in that area. You should go to a technical school. And my mother, she always used to believe in me. She always believed in me, and she said, my son, he can do it. And she said, let's try for 1 year in technical school, and if it goes well, then he can go back to science, to the A grade, right? And so for 1 year, I've been working hard. I was so motivated because I wanted to become that person. I wanted to achieve that goal. And so I graduated that year, and then I said to my teacher, now as I succeeded, I want to go back to become a scientist, economist. And she said, "Are you sure? Because you're doing well here, you're good, and I don't want you to fail, right?" And so we will live in a world where people decide for us,
Yeah.
and we are so naive that we let people decide for us. And then what did I do? I said, if I fail, so what?
That's what I was gonna say. So
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, so I started developing that mindset, that good mindset of failing. It's a gift. It's
Wow.
not, we are all using our fears. I used to use my fear as a fortress, whereas you have to use fear as your fuel.
Indeed.
And so I went to third grade. I succeeded. Fourth grade, fifth grade. But in those years, I had that negative chattering in my own head, right? Of what if the teachers are right? What if you fail? How is your family gonna think of you? What are your friends gonna say? What are your teachers
Mhm.
gonna say? Right? And so, but I always had that courage in me to become the person I wanted to become. And so
Mhm.
I started paying some mentors, coaches, and that's who I became today. And that's why I decided to jump in and to become a coach. Because what I've realized is, when I look back to my old friends, I saw they're still broken, still struggling, like I used to struggle. And then I said, there's a I realized something. I looked back and I saw that there was a tremendous need, a tremendous and enormous need for coaches, but not just coaches for everybody, but coaches especially for kids and for teens, let's say from 7 to 20 years, for example.
Mhm.
Because they're struggling, they don't know who they want to become, they don't believe in themselves, they don't believe in their dreams, right? At home, people, parents, they don't know, right? And so that day, what shifted for me, Alexandra, I said I'm going to become someone. I'm going to grow. I'm going to teach myself, learn myself, develop myself, so I can come back and help those people, help those kids believe more in themselves, help those teenagers, help those young people to believe in themselves and unleash and unlock their true potential. And that's why I decided to become a coach, especially a a coach for the youth, right?
Right.
So
Wow.
that's a little bit my story until till this point.
Wow, that's a great story. I'm impressed. I'm really impressed because you're only 21, I have to say only,
Yeah.
because when I was 21, I was definitely struggling with all kinds of emotions and fears, but I never really thought about this personal development because this was not so I don't know,
No.
not so famous, not so, and we were not used to it, right? It was in 2003 or so. Um, so then you became the coach. So how do you help those kids? How do you approach them? How do you identify? Well, you definitely identify them easy from what you explained, but how do you approach them?
The way I approach them, so when I see kids or teens, because I learned from my own experience, and that's a power, right? Because I'm still young, I can relate to them, I can relate to their situation, because some couples of years ago, I was in their same situation.
Right.
And so when I see people, some kids, for example, struggling, for example, in school, right? And in school system, the teachers, most teachers, not everybody, but most teachers, they impose decisions. They right, they decide for the children what their future is going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
While we should start to stimulate, we should motivate the children to believe in themselves and to do whatever they want to do. Because I've seen a lot of my friends at university, who are studying medicine, or who are studying lawyer, they want to become lawyers, or they want to become those great, whatever. And so I ask the question, I say, what is your why? Why do you want to become a doctor? Why do you want to become a lawyer or an accountant, right? Those high paid jobs, right? And so 90% of the answers, of the replies that I get is, Ilias, just for the money, or so I can serve my family, because I've been living in right, my family has been broken forever, right? And so I want to help them. And so I want to, because I also want to serve my future children, because I don't want them to live the same life that I used to live. And so at that moment, I realized that people are studying, people are doing the things, not because they like it or because they feel empowered by doing it, but because they think they have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's true.
And so from 7 years old to, let's say, 20, there are a lot of problems in that range, because lastly, I did some couple of coaching, some couple of trainings for children, and children going from 7 to 16, and during 1 week they are with us, and we are coaching them, and we are helping them develop themselves and unlock their potential. And from those experiences, I've learned so much from the kids, from their belief systems, from their mindsets, the way they behave, the way they're conditioned, the way they grow up, that I realized that that's who I want to become. Because before I jumped in that area of kids and teens, I saw the need and the urgency that lied in that area of kids and developing, the kids and teenagers and the youth. But once I stepped in it, I remember my first experience 2 years ago. I remember we did a what do we call it? Not visualization, but affirmation exercise. Here we go. Some affirmation exercises, and it is an extreme exercise that we do to really make them feel uncomfortable. And what I've come to realize is I saw something really interesting that day, because like I said, we had a range from 7 to 16, right? But the kids who are 7 are not the same that are 13, 14, 15, 16, right?
Right.
There's a huge gap.
Yeah.
And in that experience, something shifted in my mind. I literally saw, when we say the paradigm conditioning stopping at the age of 7, 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
I literally saw the kids who were 7, 8, maybe 9, were open, no fear of judgment, no fear of of failing. But the more we go up in ages, the more the conditioning was, the more the paradigm was, the more limiting beliefs, the more blocks, the more toxic behaviors and toxic beliefs that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that coaching 7, 19 years old, it's not the same way as coaching 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 years old people, right? There's a huge difference. There's a huge difference.
So you approach them, so you approach those groups differently, right? So you would have a different method to approach those between 7 and 13 years old, for example, and 13 years old to 20 is another story. Let's dive into the first group. Let's say that you have a child that is 7 years old, and at that age, children watch maybe more than they should TV and cartoons, and they have fears because of some cartoons, because of some films, because sometimes the creators on those movies can be too strange and scary and frightening. So how would you address that feeling, that fear that sometimes would be blocking children from just enjoying their childhood, just enjoying being around friends or doing something new. I have practical cases of children being very anxious after watching some cartoons that maybe most children would like, but sometimes frightening, like I don't know, Shrek or these kind of cartoons. How would you help a child 7 years old to um, stop that fear?
I would start to give those children, because they are young, right? 7, 8 is young age, and
Mm-hmm.
because the conditioning is starting to form, starting to it's finishing. It's Those kids are not aware of a lot of things. They're not aware of life. They're not aware of a lot of things, right? And so even if you say something to those children, they maybe they won't believe it, right? But when you speak like that to a 16-year-old, they will, they have developed that consciousness, right? And so they can think, they
Yeah.
can, and they can go back and reevaluate the thing, right? But a child can do it. So you have to help the children to make their decisions, right? And so in the beginning, I would really suggest to maybe, if because we have different kinds of personalities, right? We have children
Right.
who are afraid for little things. We have children who are not afraid at all, right?
Yeah.
Is first, I would say, is identify which personality he has or she has.
Okay.
First, identify
Mm-hmm.
what is her or his level of being afraid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And based on that, you're gonna you're gonna show them some different cartoons or some different books or different movies, and it's our responsibility as parents to help our children to learn. For example, in our house, we don't have TV anymore, right? We don't have TV
Mm-hmm.
anymore, right? So one of my biggest advice I would give is unplug the TV, right?
That's a
Unplug
great
the TV.
advice. That's a great advice. I
It's
agree.
Yeah, it's better. Buy them some books, buy them some toys, buy them some
Yeah.
to keep them, practicing.
Entertained, but with intelligent things. And now, then, I want to ask you about teenagers because nowadays, and I'm sure you know it, some teens kill themselves, right? They
Yeah,
commit suicide, and
yeah,
it happens more than we would. It happens more than we can imagine. And I'm sure some parents that are beyond among our viewers would love to hear you about how they can, of course, what the advice that you're going to give is not you're not responsible for anything, you just share your wisdom, but I'm
yes,
saying how can we help parents to be closer to their teenagers and to build rapport and to maybe prevent that they have those lack of confidence feelings, fear feelings, um, and so prevent them from having that low self-esteem and commit like very sad things like suicidal.
yeah, sure. It's a really good question. So there are a lot of ways. There are a lot of exercises. There are a lot of things you can do. And I think, when we have some limiting beliefs, when we don't believe in ourselves, when we have lack of self-esteem, lack of, like I used to struggle in the very beginning.
Yeah.
So help me is constantly, constantly repeating those affirmations. And so there's an exercise I want to share with you, maybe, just to give
Yeah.
you an exercise. We call it
Right.
the exercise. We call it expose the lies. Expose the lies. So you take a blank sheet of paper,
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna start writing all the lies that you used to tell yourself. For example, I have to work hard to earn money, or I'm not beautiful enough to, or I'm not smart enough. Right? All those limiting beliefs. We know they're we know those are lies, right? It's not a
Right.
truth. All
True.
lies.
Yeah.
And so in between every lie, you leave a blank space. And so when you're done with all your lies, and you can put the lies, those lies in different categories. For instance, relationships, right? And I'm not talking just about relationship with your parents or your friends, but also with yourself, right? Am I kind with myself? Am I good with myself? How do I treat me, right? And so, because self-care is really important. And so, for example, finances, the relationship, spirituality, whatever, all those areas that you can pick. And then after every lie, you write the truth. For example, I have to work hard to make money. Don't just say I don't have to work hard to make money. Just, all right?
Yeah.
But that's your job as a parent, to help those kids formulate those powerful affirmations, because those are affirmations that we
Right.
are telling ourselves constantly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, for example, I have to work hard to earn a lot of money. No, say I can earn money while I'm sleeping.
Hmm.
It's more powerful. It's empowering. It's inspiring,
Indeed.
right? And
Indeed.
so for 2 days, and that's what I did also in the youth camp, we call it. And for 2 days, you repeat the lie, truth, truth, light, truth, light, truth, light, truth for 2 days, 4 or 5 times a day. And then the third day, you take an eraser and you start to erase all those lies.
Mm-hmm.
Because for 2 days, you have trained your mind that after every lie, there's a truth, right?
Right.
So for starting from day 3, every single day, it only works when it's done in a consistent on a consistent basis. It doesn't work overnight. It doesn't work tomorrow or after 3 times. No, it works because of the power, because of the law of consistency, law of discipline, law of consistency. And so when you erase those lies, what do you have left? Your good affirmations, right?
Yes.
And those affirmations, you start to repeating them. And the best is to do it in front of a mirror and to start with your name. Ilias, you're good enough. Ilias, you're smart enough. Ilias, you can you earn money while you're sleeping. And all those positive affirmations, even if you don't believe in it, you don't have to believe in it. But when you're going to do this over and over and over again, your mind will start to believe it. And that's what we want to do. That's what we want to have. Because once you start, once your mind is going to believe in it, you will start to act in a different way.
Yeah.
You will think in a different way. And that's what we want. Because when you think in a different way, it all starts in here. It all starts in here. If you don't change this, you will never change your environment, right? And your actions, because our actions are the results of our thinking, emotions, and the vibration and vibration that we are in, right? And so if we can change the thinking, we can change the emotion, and ultimately we can change our actions, which changes our results, right? So that's one of the greatest exercise I do with building that that self-esteem. And a lot of children are struggling with what we call self-image, and that's the way you build that inner self-image, because we all have 2 images, right? We have an image that we see ourselves in the mirror, and we have an inner self-image, and that image is the way you see yourself, right? And so that exercise will help those children or those teens preventing from, for example, suicide or other extreme situations and challenges.
Wow. Okay, that's great. Thanks for sharing. I think it is very simple, but also very powerful exercise.
Yes, because people don't get lost in the ease of the exercises, because personal development, it's easy. It's really, really, maybe it's not easy, but it's simple. It's really simple. And as it's simple, some people won't believe in it because it's that simple, right?
Yeah.
And so we want everything to be complicated, to be complex, right? But life is easy. Why would you make it harder or more complex if it can be done easy, in an easy way?
Right. Yeah, I agree. Totally.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I hope that our viewers will practice this exercise. So, speaking of the 30-day positivity challenge,
Yes.
yes, I really enjoyed watching your videos. You have such a great energy. I mean, gives
Yes.
it just gives the envy to watch and to do the exercise and to come back the following day to just share with you again that positive energy that you share. Can you share with us what pushed you to do the well? I guess what pushed you to do the challenge is again to spread the positivity, but let's say what was the biggest learning, because you definitely learn through those challenges that you share with people. What is your biggest learning as a coach?
What I've learned in that experience, do I have to explain the reason why I started, or just
Well,
what
you
I
can
learned?
always, of course, you can. We spoke a little bit about it before the interview, but yeah, of
Yes.
course, share it.
Yeah, sure. So, we are living in some scary times right now, some uncertain times where, where fear of being sick, fear of losing my job, fear of losing my money, fear of losing my house, fear. We live in a world, especially right now, we live in a world where fear and anxiety is dominating, right? We are all fearful. What's next? We are all fearful, and on socials there were a lot of negative chattering, a lot of negative news, a lot of negative people. And when I saw that, I realized that some people really, really needed someone who brings some joy and brings some positivity and brings some value to them, because that's all I did, is bringing value. I'm not there just to rah you, to motivate. No, I'm bringing content. I'm bringing a challenge, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so and that's why I immediately decided to do it. So I think it was 4 or 5 days ago, 4 days ago, I finished the challenge, and the replies that I got, the messages I got from people on Instagram, Facebook. I didn't expect all those great messages, right? Because during the challenges, people were doing the challenges. Some people came after, some people did it, right? And I got all those positive comments in my comments, right? But the last day, I got 59 messages after making that live. Only. Now it's up to, yeah, I don't know the number, but it's just after making that live. People coming to me, reaching out to me, and that's only on Facebook, not counting Instagram and all those other platforms. And people came to me, and they say, Ilias, thank you. Thank you for showing up every single day, because right, it's challenge, and every single day I planned a live, right? And so I had to show up, not just for me, but for them. And so the gratitude that I felt at those moments, when people come to you and say, Ilias, thank you, because of you, now I start making lives. Because of you, because of the challenges, I have now more confidence in me. I believe more in me. Because of you, now I can serve my children in a different way. Now I can serve and inspire others to follow you. Because and so I got a lot of parents come to me and said, Ilias, I've showed your videos every single day to my children, and I told them to go follow you and to take example. And so I got all those great feedbacks, and I didn't expect all those feedbacks.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked. I was literally shocked and impressed and feeling really grateful. I was really feeling really good. A girl, one of my friends, she has the same age as me. She's only 20. She's 20 years, and she came to me and said, Ilias, thank you for having, thank you for inspiring us, the teams. Thank you for inspiring the people, who are struggling like me. She's talking about her, right? Like me, with self-esteem, with all those challenging moments in her life. And so I decide, and all those things pushed me. They're like fuel for me to go and do more, and to go out and serve more, because people need, we need more coaches. We need more people in this world that can serve, that can inspire, that can transform, and that can really bring value to the humanity. And so that's what I learned from that experience. And something I learned is I've I've learned that there were a lot of people living in negativity, living in a toxic environment, living with living with people around them that are so toxic and so negative. And because right, we can say don't hang out with negative people, right? We all have some negative environment, but when I saw those people living in real negativity in that area, in that in their lives, and since they were born, they grew up in that negativity, in that toxic environment, right? Because I didn't grow in that environment, though. I grew up in an environment where my mother is like me, she likes to, has a lot of energy, she's always smiling, when even during the when times were tough. And I learned that from her, to always keep a smile on your face. Because people at school, I always carried a smile on my face. And people say, Ilias, you have not, we have never seen you sad or crying or whatever. And people think that life is happy, right? In my life. But that's why I want to say that don't never prejudge people. And that's something I really learned during those years, to never judge people. When people say they live in toxic environment, just feel those people and bring something to them. Even if you're not a coach, you can always give them advice to reach out to whatever coach, or to read that book, or watch the challenges of Ilias, or whatever, right? We all can do something to make a difference in somebody's life.
Wow, that's a great learning. That's definitely a great learning. I totally approve that message. Wow, it was an amazing interview, Ilias. I really enjoyed listening to you, to be honest. I'm pretty aware of personal development, like a lot of entrepreneurs, but I love to hear and hear again those basic things that help us to keep a balance, a mental balance, and have a positive mindset. And I'm sure this is going to help a lot of people, and I'm sure our viewers are going to enjoy this interview. Wow, I would love to ask you more and more questions, but I think the best is to tell now, where do people can follow you, where they can keep in touch with you. We share the links. So you have a Facebook. Do you have a Facebook page? Because I found you on your personal profile, but do you have like a
No,
page?
not yet.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
So I have my personal profile. I have my Instagram and LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
But I've always, I also created an organization called Leadership Transmission, and that's the organization that we're working with, through which we are doing our coachings, through which we are organizing our programs. And Leadership Transmission, we have a page.
Okay.
You can follow that page. They can follow me.
So it's in Belgium, and is it in the Flemish part, or is it also in the French-speaking part?
Yes. So it is in the Flemish-speaking part, but the coachings, we organize the coachings where we put 3 languages in. So
Okay.
my last series we did it in 3 languages, and so we did it in French, Flemish, and English, because
Okay.
international people who are living in Belgium as well, and so we are coaching people in the 3 languages.
Of course, that's a great thing.
Have an even more bigger impacts.
Wow.
Life. Yes.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, I'd like to leave you the last words to conclude this interview. I'm so happy to have you. I hope to have you again in a few years and see where you where you are at and what more you have achieved. But yeah, for now, you can conclude the interview.
Yes. So I wanna conclude by giving a big advice for all parents out there. And even if you're not a parent yet, doesn't matter. If you want your children to change, if you want, the people that you hang out with, or your family to change, or your friends, or your children to change, you have to change first. because people don't resist change. We just don't, let alone children, right? We don't resist change, but we resist being changed. So if you want your children being changed, if you want children to become better children and to develop themselves, start by changing you, because children are just acting like their parents. They're acting like their parents. So show the example. Show, if you wanted children to exercise affirmations, start using it too. Show them how to do it. Start to changing yourself first before wanting to change your children. And that's the way that we make transformation, coachings more impactful, because people do what you do, not what you say. They do what you do. So start teaching yourself. Go out, learn, because we need you in this world more than ever, my friends. We need you in this world. We need you to go out, to go inspire, to develop yourself, and to leave a fingerprint on this earth, because you will be amazed how many lives you can change. And we will never have enough coaches. We will have never enough coaches, right? Because there's just a tremendous need for coaches in this world, especially right now. And so I just wanted to live with this and to say, unlock your true potential, because we all have unlimited, and unlimited is big, right? We don't know what it is. It's just so big. We have all unlimited potential within us, locked up within our bones, in our cells. And so my message is, go out, unlock, unleash, literally unleash, go out there and develop yourself, learn yourself, educate yourself, and go out and inspire everybody that crosses your path.
Amen to that. Wow. Really, this is so inspiring. Like I said, I am pretty advanced, but I have children, and when I listen to you, I'm picturing myself doing things to encourage my daughters to do those things.
Yeah.
That's wow. I really enjoyed this interview personally, and I'm sure that the rest of the viewers will enjoy it too. So yeah, that's it for today. But thank you so much, Ilias, for being here in our show.
Yeah,
thank
it's
you so much.
A really honor, a really privilege to be in contact with you, and to be able to share, as I said in the very beginning, my wisdom and my knowledge. Because together, right? It's a dialogue. It's not a monologue. I'm not here to do you. It's a dialogue. We're here because together we can serve more people. We can grow, and we can make this world a better place to live. Right?
Indeed, definitely.
So thank you again. Thank you from the bottom. I feel really grateful from being here. Really. So thank you for having me. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. So that's it for today, I Am Magazine viewers. If you want to connect with Ilias, make sure to click on the links in the description of the video. I hope to read your comments very soon. Please let us know what you thought about this interview. We look forward to seeing you again in the next interview, the next show. I say goodbye to you for now, and stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.